friends, we're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price. Time for me to put my thinking cap on. Learn a little bit about sales, customer service, the whole 9 yards. Who do I go to for that? None other than my friend Walter Rogers. I tell you, Walter, I love getting you in here because you do such a phenomenal job of making us well-versed. And, the things that people don't realize is I don't care what they do for a living. And they could be a lawyer, they could be an accountant, they could be a doctor, they could be whatever. There's a selling side and a customer relationship side to whatever it is you do. And so to me, this is great lessons that you bring to everyone out there. Good to talk to you today.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. I really appreciate it, and it's always a pleasure to be back on the show, and we've got a great guest today. I'll introduce him in a second, but the topic today is the importance of learning and developing your skills. And, Kevin, you and I have talked about this many times. As soon as you think you know everything, that's when you get in trouble, right?
Yep.
That's when you stop learning, you stop enhancing your skills, and I'm going to throw a couple of statistics your way to get the show started, but there was a study recently done by UC Berkeley, and the study was really focused on understanding people's expertise. And so they questioned 284 people who made their living very specifically on commenting or offering advice on political and economic trends. The study then took a look at quantitative data on over 82,000 predictions. So that's a pretty good sample. Okay? Now, keep in mind, these are people that make a living offering predictions. Mm-hmm. Now, what percentage of the time, Kevin, do you think those predictions were correct?
I bet not very high.
Exactly right.
Well, you always put me on a spot, but my gut tells me is that, whenever there's human behavior involved, there's a huge amount of subjectivity, and it's very hard to call that.
That's exactly right. It's less than 33% of the time that they were correct, less than one-third of the time. Now, here's the most interesting part of it all. The least accurate predictions were made by the most famous experts in the group. The most famous were the least accurate. Now, why do you think that is, right? It's a lot of reasons, but one of them is they're experts. They perceive themselves as experts, so they stop their learning process, and we're going to talk about that today.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
And we've got a great guest. His name is Todd Herman. Now, Todd, he's a farm boy from Western Canada. He owns two companies. One is a peak performance company specifically for professional athletes and corporations. He also owns a business that specializes in web optimization for small businesses. And most recently, Todd has had the pleasure of being awarded the honor of World's Greatest Salesperson by Ogilvy One, which is a subsidiary of Ogilvy & Mather, of course, very, very large advertising
absolutely.
agency.
And I understand he has a red brick interest as well.
Absolutely. Todd, welcome to the show. Tell us about the contest and the brick.
Well, the contest that Ogilvy One sponsored with YouTube was, again, looking for the world's greatest salesperson. And they put up the question to basically try and celebrate salesmanship and not put it down like a lot of it is sometimes perceived in the media. And they said, Kate, do your best job in 2 minutes or less of how you would sell a red brick. So you had to submit a 2-minute video, and just through people voting, and then also them using a panel of other experts, they would judge based on all the different submissions on who was the kind of the best of the best. And then from there, 3 of us got flown over to Cannes, France, to the International Advertising Festival, and there we did another pitch in front of the live audience, and they all voted via text messaging for who they thought was the best. And I ended up taking home the gold, so to speak.
Wow, that's incredible. What did taking home the gold entail?
Well, in the end, I've basically got awarded with a 3-month consulting and fellowship project with Ogilvy, where we're actually doing a qualitative and quantitative study and writing a book on, how has selling changed in the 21st century with all this new technology that's out there, and have things really changed? And then also with it as well is there's MSN and Microsoft bought the World's Greatest Salesperson reality show rights, and it looks like there might be a reality show coming out of this as well.
Oh, that's great. And I got to tell you, you're kind of photogenic. You look like you like the camera, so this could work out well for you.
Well, I'm not going to shy away from it.
I love it. So let me ask you, that's an interesting challenge in and of yourself. Here's a brick. Make it interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of interesting challenging. Kind of tell me what your processes was to try to make something sellable out of that.
Well, the great thing about them choosing a brick was it's a completely inanimate object, but also it's been around for thousands of centuries. And so I mean, you always infuse your own experience into whatever it is that you're selling a lot of times. And so because of all the work that I do with professional and Olympic athletes, I'm always usually talking about, motivation and constantly developing yourself. And this is a great example of, always developing your skills. So I sort of said, okay, well, how can I turn this brick into something it's a metaphor for something more aspirational. So people can actually look at the brick in a completely different way other than just being, a device used to build buildings and houses type of thing. And apparently it resonated and it worked.
Yeah, I like it. How did you come across this, Walter?
Well, I was actually having dinner in New York with one of our friends at Ogilvy One, and he mentioned the contest, and we were like, wow, this would be a great opportunity to have the winner of the contest on the show. And as I was speaking with Todd, before the show, I found out about his background in terms of his focus on peak performance for professional athletes and corporations, and match that with the topic, of continuing learning and developing your skills. It really seemed like a perfect fit. And Todd, I'd love to hear your perspective on the importance of learning and developing your skills, given that this is really what you do for a living outside of winning contests.
Well, I mean, I think that people like to look at people who are really successful in sort of anything in life, and they like to build some sort of big mystery around why they've gotten there. And I mean, we all know that hard work is a big part of it, but in my experience with the guys that I work with in the major leagues of baseball, whether it's, my clients with the Boston Red Sox or the Phillies or, NHL and other sports, is that they have a constant, never-ending desire to always improve. And you're exactly right with that great analogy you started off earlier with about how experts have this perception that they're experts and so they stop learning. And I sort of approach life on a daily basis of, hey, I'm a complete idiot today, and there's a lot of stuff out there that I can learn and grow from. Now, I don't actually think I'm an idiot, but I know that there's always someone and something that I can learn from. And, examples with my pro clients is they're exceptionally successful, and they know that there's this kind of wild frontier with their mind. They're all physically gifted, and they all work really hard, but it's this mental aspect that they know if they can actually master it and improve on it and develop a little bit stronger focus skills and concentration and overcoming challenges and things that they're always presented with, that's going to exponentially improve their results on the field of play. And that's exactly what happens. It's great because when you shift your mindset just one little bit, you can get phenomenal results very, very quickly. And that's why I tell people all the time, you give someone who's the greatest skill coach in a particular area and get that person to train an athlete. And if you have a clone of that athlete, I can work with them for a day, and he will, or anyone that's in my field can work with them for a day, and just one little mindset tweak and a flood of potential just comes out of a person because they just look at things differently now.
No question about it. I think it's phenomenal. And I love your whole premise, Walter. The whole idea is that people kind of get stuck and they have to think creatively. Do you suggest salespeople take on really daunting tasks, like how to make bricks interesting, even though it has nothing to do directly with their business, as an exercise to improve their quality of their selling?
I think salespeople should always take on daunting tasks. I think that's part of what makes salespeople exceptional. Because as soon as you start getting in a routine, you're always performing the same thing over and over and over again. This is when you get caught in your trap of stopping your learning, right? And it's taking on daunting tasks or exceptional tasks or difficult tasks or things that are going to stretch you that will continue to force that muscle memory to break and rebuild. Because, much like in the sports world, right, you break the muscle down. This is how you grow your muscle. You break it, and it rebuilds bigger and stronger. You have to do the same thing with your mind, and you do that with your mind by putting yourself in situations that maybe are a little bit uncomfortable for you, but it'll force you to learn. It'll force you to get outside of your comfort zone and really take in some new information.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, and I think that's incredible. How long is the fellowship is 3 months? Will you relocate to do it, or kind of give us the details on that?
So now I'm actually split my time between New York City and Western Canada anyway, because I've got lots of clients, and I travel the world doing speeches all the time. But I'll be pretty much really strongly based in New York for the next few months while we're working on this. And then we're going to be presenting our findings in a speech in this book at the Direct Marketing Association in San Francisco in October. But and then with the reality show, that's all still kind of being planned out, and not really any hard dates on that. But I couldn't agree more with what you were just talking about with Walter about that putting yourself into these positions of being maybe a quasi uncomfortable. I mean, do I necessarily need to have a fellowship or a consulting contract with Ogilvy? No, but I did it because I was like, no, you think you're actually maybe okay at sales, but why not just put it out there to the world and see what they say? And it's grown into nothing but amazing opportunities, and met phenomenal people, and just even doing radio shows like this. Never did that before. So.
There you go. Is this going to be a reoccurring contest for Ogilvy?
Well, they're sort of talking about it. The people behind the scenes who put a lot of effort and work into it were like slapping their heads going, oh, I don't know if I could do this all over again. But they've built a great little brand out of it, and it's created generated such a fantastic conversation about the importance of selling and being a good salesperson and all that I hope that they continue it on.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Walter Rogers, he's at Baker Communications, that website, bakercommunications.com. Again, they're the premier leaders when it comes to helping sales leaders be developed, customer service needs, and really developing the dedication and determination necessary to be the leader in that field. How do people get in touch with you, our guest today?
If they want to get in touch with myself, they could probably just email me at Todd, Todd, at thepeakathlete.com. And if people want to check out that YouTube video, they could just go to YouTube and type in World's Greatest Salesperson, and it should be either the first or second video that comes up.
Yeah, and if they go to the Facebook page and put in Price of Business, they'll also see it there. I have it there right now. I really appreciate what a great guest. I appreciate you bringing him in, and kind of give us a quick preview with about 30 seconds what we can expect next week. Walter?
Well, next week we're gonna continue to focus on this path of the great habits of exceptional salespeople, and we're going to double click on the whole habit of selling value over price.
Value over price.
Value over price, and so many guests. I mean, so many salespeople really focus on price instead of value. And we've got a terrific guest. His name is Ed Golod, and he's the regional director for Eloqua, and he's going to talk very specifically about techniques to sell value over price.
I love the idea. People need to go check out priceofbusiness.com. When they go there, they need to hit the contributor section and look for Walter Rogers. And the reason why is because there's phenomenal information there. I'm telling you, Walter is literally writing a book. We're getting to see it happen. You get to see that book before you have to buy it at the bookshelf as it gets developed. Thanks so much, Walter, and your guests. Todd, we appreciate you very much. You're listening to The Price of Business on the new Talk 650, powered by CBS Radio.